Welcome to One Little Spice, the Disney food podcast that isn't afraid to send you into the taste lab.
Welcome to this month's episode of Extra Spice. I'm Julie, and I tried to give Amy a break because the pool store has been so busy this summer, but no, she didn't want a break. So I'm Julie.
And I'm Amy.
And we are joined today by the wonderful Jason Michael of the Wise Guy Radio Show. He is also a glass blower for Arribas Brothers and super awesome. So welcome, Jason. It is great to have you with us today.
I'm Jason.
Oh.
What's happening, ladies?
Hello.
I was expecting that the last time we recorded this for me to say I'm Julie and for you to say I'm Jason, but then you didn't, and it disappointed me.
Oh.
Well, you
redeemed yourself
Did it
this
now,
time.
so yeah.
Perfect.
So we have a billion questions to ask you, but to start, tell us about your podcast.
Okay, yeah, my podcast. It's called the Wise Guy Radio Show. Well, for now, it's called that. Next week, well, I'm not sure when this is airing, this episode here, but my podcast changes branding and names coming in a week from now. The idea is basically that my show is for the glass blower, the modern glass artist, and I share tips and tricks and a lot of fun insights into technique and share artist journeys with interviews, as well as bring on lawyers to talk about legal stuff, copyright laws, trademarks and stuff, and a lot of business talk and health and all kind of fun things, really just geared to help out the modern glassblower. Really like the avatar, I guess, per se, that I created. That was my ideal audience member, was like the 18-year-old fresh out of high school with not a lot of direction, but found the art medium of glass blowing and wants to do it for a living. So if I can help steer them in the right direction. And so far, 215 plus episodes now in 4 years. And season 5 starts, like I said, next week. And the show is now being called A Glassblower's Companion. And I've been able to build a brand around the Wise Guy term, which came from actually an old customer of mine that helped me kind of rebrand and find a name for myself in a sense, because I make these little owls that are my thing. And it all kind of went from there. And now I have a media company where I have several different things going on between YouTube and the podcasting and coaching and online courses and stuff. And it's all geared to helping today's modern glass artist think like an artistic entrepreneur.
That's really awesome.
That really is. I definitely love the Wise Guy, but I also love your new title.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
The little owl's still there.
Yeah, no, I was just like, when you said the title, I was like, what's it going to be? Because I assumed it was going to be quite different. And I was like, ooh, that was really good. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm just like silently going, ooh.
Logo coming soon.
Yes, thanks. But the idea was just basically like I want people to see the name of the show and if they're not a glassblower, understand what the show's about in a sense. Because ideally it's, even though it's for the glass artist, I also like to have some sort of an entertainment aspect to what I do. So really anybody can listen to it.
I was highly entertained by it.
Excellent.
Me too.
Yes, I have yet to come back to the time of year when I have time to listen to podcasts other than, our own.
In her defense, she did tell me to ask you what a good episode would be to start listening, and I never asked you.
Oh, I can find one for you.
Excellent. I love all things.
Sweet. Me too. Almost all things.
Like, I'm not a big fan of tripe, but I honestly don't think I've had it like cooked properly for me as of
maybe
yet.
I need to get you some tripe on Saturday.
From
I'm not
where?
familiar with that. It sounds dangerous.
It
Pig
is
intestine. I
yeah.
mean cow intestine. Sorry, not
cow.
pig,
I thought it was the stomach.
Well, yeah, cow stomach, cow intestine, cow digestive tract.
Potentially any animal digestive tract, but generally cow.
Generally cow. And there's a little Italian place down the street from my house that has a really delicious tripe in a tomato base.
Yeah, I am down for that. All I've ever had is in pho at like Vietnamese food.
Oh yeah, not the same. It doesn't have the same flavor. But yeah, they only do it on Saturdays at La Cantina.
Like I've had tongue. I like tongue. all big fans of organ meat and marrow. So
At the taco place that I got tacos from on Tuesday, because who wouldn't? They had tongue as an option, but I did not choose the tongue.
Sounds terrible.
yes, La Victoria has tongue all the time. If next time you're here, that before you move to Florida.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, and now just to get into all things Disney. First, your Disney story. How did you fall in love with Disney?
Well, I'd say early on before the parks, visiting the parks, I was introduced to Disney early on as a child from books and TV cartoons and movies and what have you. My first movie experience was probably, I believe, when Fantasia, the first Fantasia, was re-released in the movies. And I had nightmares for probably about 2 weeks afterwards. And, but yeah, like, I remember seeing Pinocchio in the theaters and Snow White, like all the re-releases in the early 80s, maybe late 70s. Dating me here. I remember seeing a lot of those in the theaters. But also had like the audio book read-along 45s, so it was like a little,
I had
a
those.
story book, type thing. Yeah.
I had
So I had
45s.
those-
I didn't have Disney ones, though.
No. I had a couple of them, and then I had some Star Wars ones, too, which were fun. But I guess that was probably the early on stuff. But also as a kid, my mom was worked crazy schedules being a nurse, so my sister and I had a lot of time home alone. So I would occupy my time by watching movies and cartoons and stuff, but also drawing a lot. And a lot of my influences for drawing were from like comic strips and the Peanuts and the Garfields of the days, but also Disney stuff. And I really couldn't draw Mickey until I was probably in my teens, but I tried my hardest as a kid. I was more Garfield type of style of drawings. I can still draw Garfield to this day. Just
Really
Yay.
quick, you're talking really fast, so if you could
Am
slow
I?
down just a bit.
Okay, fine.
I'll have to send you a picture of this Garfield painting we bought from a local artist. It's very cool.
Nice. Yeah, Jim Davis was an influence of mine growing up as an artist for sure. But all that, kind of culminated to eventually going to the parks a lot. I remember going to, like, my first Disney memory was...
Hey, that's the next question. Stop it.
Oh, well, shit.
You
Julie,
have
So
them
it's-
printed out. You can see them.
I'm ignoring them. But yeah, so I'd say that was probably early Disney memories of the beginnings of falling in love. But also being taught the Walt Disney story himself and how he started. And I was taught this all at a young age through my grandparents. They were business owners, and so they were influenced in a sense from like the business knowledge and taking risks and stuff through what Disney did himself. It's kind of fun.
What is your first memory in the parks?
Very first memory is, which is kind of crazy, I still remember this, is going to see Epcot tour basically when Spaceship Earth was not quite finished yet. I remember I was taking the monorail over, and I don't remember if the monorail went through the actual Epcot space like it does now, or if it just went to the station. But I remember getting out of it with my mother and my grandmother, and my mom holding my hand and walking out on the platform and seeing like the multiple layers of it being built still, and they had like the black tar paper kind of crap on it.
Amy, you jealous? She
What?
listening? I said, are you jealous?
I am incredibly jealous, and I want to absorb this experience via hug. So like when I meet you in person again for the since January, I'm going to hug you, and that is it's part greeting and part trying to
Just
absorb this
imprint that
experience.
memory onto Amy, please.
Yeah.
I will pass it on a little bit to you.
Yes, thank you.
But yeah, that was definitely first early memories. And I don't remember how old I was at the time, being when the park opened up there, so I don't know.
Well, I mean,
don't
it
know
was
how old
built
I
in
was.
what, 70s?
It opened
Is
in I
that-
believe was it 81?
Because it celebrated 35 when I wanted to be down there. Was that
I want to say it's
2000?
like August
Yeah, it was
17th,
82. It was
1982.
82.
Yeah, okay, 81, 82.
No, it was October 1st,
Yeah, October 1st, 82.
82. Either way, Amy and I were not born.
I was
What?
a wee lad.
A wee
Both of my
lad.
brothers were born.
Were they?
Yeah, John is 78 and Mark is 81 or 80.
Wow, they're old. Just kidding. I know you meant the years that they were born. I was like, John is not 78.
No, he's 40. He'll be 41 on Halloween.
I was going to go grab my 35th anniversary button.
Do you have a 35th anniversary button?
I have the button and the map, park guide, and everything from that day.
Do I inherit those? Do those become mine too?
I guess.
In the event of
Jeez.
both of your deaths, can I inherit them?
I'll write it
Sure.
into the will.
Okay, good.
Let's go into the Disney archive.
Anyway, don't worry, Amy. I'll take care of you. He'll die first. That's a lie. I will
Probably.
definitely be dying first. All right. So next, what is your favorite park?
It's a go between. It's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other for me, with Epcot and Magic Kingdom. I would say it depends on my mood for that weekend or day or week or whatever I'm visiting the parks. Because depends also when I'm working. Because my home base is Disney Springs, but for 2.5, 3 years I worked at Epcot in the Mexican Pavilion, and then I went over to Magic Kingdom. I did the Torch for about 5 months there, but mostly about a year and a half. We have a hot shop in the back where we do furnace-style glass blowing, doing like giant bowls and vases and stuff, where it's more of like a verbal demonstration compared to our Torch time is just sitting and people looking at you like you're inside of a fishbowl all day, tapping on the glass and stuff. But I still solicit questions.
Been there, done that.
So having been in both those parks working-wise, I got to see a lot of the stuff that was going on behind the scenes with the festivals and stuff opening, which didn't ruin the magic for me per se, but it definitely gave me some insights and stuff. But now that I'm not at Magic Kingdom anymore or Epcot, think I appreciate going to those two parks even more so, because I'm not always seeing the changes constantly. So to wrap up my long-winded answer, it's 50-50 between the two.
Those would be my two favorite parks as well. Like Epcot is my favorite. But Magic Kingdom definitely comes in a close second.
So Epcot was my favorite, but I have a really amazing memory from Magic Kingdom recently, so that one's taking the cake right now.
Yeah. So you got to work on Epcot next time. When she finally gets down there.
Oh yeah,
Well, September 2nd, we have reservations for Beer Garden, so.
never been. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Amy won't go with me until she's gone with Michael, so I'm going with you instead.
So
Nice.
Michael went down to Disney for like 10 days with an crazy ex-girlfriend and her crazy family for the 4th of July one year, and there's a lot of things that he didn't do even though they were there for 10 days and had 10 park ticket days. They didn't take him on the Haunted Mansion. They didn't take him on like anything. And one of the things that he did that he remembers very strongly that I have never done is go to Beer Garden. So we want, when we go down there, for there to like have something that he can show me, that he can share with me.
Nice. Heck yeah.
I thought so too. Thank you.
I'm going to show her the world.
You got like 3 different laughs out of me.
Amy was very
I will
entertained
show
by
you
that.
the world.
I'm too congested to finish that
Shining,
song.
shimmering splendor. Was that good, Julie?
No,
It did not pinch hit well enough for you.
no, absolutely not.
I don't know, just to finish the song. That's all I meant. I was sitting here. I'm like, Julie never doesn't finish a Disney song when someone starts it. So I was concerned.
I'm just sitting here waiting for you to ask your question.
Oh. What is your favorite Disney character?
Jeez. Well,
Figment,
That's
'cause
tough.
it's how I
I
met
would-
my girlfriend. Just helping you out, babe.
Well, I was going there. Because I have several reasons why I like what I like. So, with my job, part of the beauty of what I do is get to create my characters in glass. And the characters that I create are the 3 of my favorite characters within the world of Disney right now, which is Olaf and Remy Rat from Ratatouille and Mr. Figment. And the unique thing I think with Figment, for those of us that are my age and have a fondness for this character, is from the original version of the ride, not from the whatever you want to call it, the abomination, sacrilege version of what exists now. Because most people that see the character now think he's just annoying, in a sense, which I still love him, whatever. But for a character that's gotten so much love and has never been in a movie per se, even though he's had like comic books and the occasional short thingy here and there. And
I
been
own
featured
most
in,
of those comic books.
know.
Just saying.
Oh, nice. I'll be reading them.
No,
But,
you
uh,
won't. Those stay boarded and bagged forever.
I know.
Oh.
I'm with you. I'm with you there.
I'll wait till you're sleeping one night.
Like gloves, a face mask, and then maybe you can look at them.
Okay. I'll take all precautions necessary. And then you can read my Haunted Mansion ones that I have.
Okay.
But,
fair trade. Fair trade.
So I'd say Figment's probably number one, and then Olaf's close runner-up, number two. I mean, there's so many
Is
characters
Remy
out
number
there,
3?
He is, but not really.
With his tiny little hands.
His tiny hands are cute. I love the character. I love the movie, but he's one of my favorites. But I wouldn't say he's number 3. It's hard to
You
say.
were just
There's
listing the characters that you've created from Glass, so I just figured Remy
Yeah.
would be number 3 there.
Yeah, I mainly wanted to make him, besides him being a part of Food and Wine and the new ride going in, but also to set a milestone for our company for being the first in-house Pixar piece to go into production.
And he's amazing and adorable and so cute.
Thanks, little Chef Remy. He's adorable. And my Remy serves up a little martini. He has a
Love it.
piece of cheese and an olive that he carries.
It's
I love
And,
it.
frickin' adorable, Amy.
I'll have to see it sometime.
All right, so Figment is something that you created for Erebus Brothers. What was the process of starting him and then getting him to the sales floor?
So far, Figment has been actually my longest process in terms of that process.
He's
To be
quite
redundant.
large.
Yeah, well, for us to go through the process, basically the way it works is we come up with an idea, whether it's a pose or what have you, or just a character idea. We approach Erebus Brothers with the idea. We now have an art director that works for us, and her mentor at Disney Animation when she worked there is the guy we go to for all of our character integrity for everything that approves our stuff. So before, what we would do is we would make a piece. We would then go to Disney with it. They would give us notes back. We would make adjustments. We'd send it back, make more notes, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, having our art director on board, we can just go to her with it, and it won't leave her desk until it's 110%. So Figment's my biggest character, full color, or not full color, but a big clear piece, so you can see every flaw in the guy. And for me, it was a new step in my evolution of blowing glass for the last 20 years, doing this large character. So it took me 6 months and 12 revisions I had to go through before she even let me go, get it past her to go to Disney Animation for approval. And on my 11th revision, she loved it, except that she told me that Disney said his butt wasn't big enough.
I love that.
Yeah. So but the fun part about it is we get some insights into what the animators or the Imagineers or whoever designs these characters, what they were thinking about. And Figment was initially designed, his look in terms of like his proportions were designed after a little tubby kid. That's a little bottom heavy. And his proportions are different. Most Disney characters are based on head size. Like humans are also the same way when you're drawing anatomy and stuff and making proportional traits of things. But like Mickey's 3 heads, so that means it's his head, and then his head and body are basically 3 heads tall, if that makes sense. So his body's 2 heads, his head's 1 head. Olaf is 2 heads tall. His body is the same size as his head. So when it came to Figment, he's actually 6 heads tall, I believe, if I remember correctly. He's a little bit different size-wise in proportions. But that's basically the process. And then we have to deal with color integrity to make sure that the orange, for instance, is that right shade of orange. The piece I'm doing being clear, wasn't really worried about the purple. But I have him holding a paintbrush, which was inspired by a Jim Shore piece that Jim Shore does of Figment painting. And so I made sure I wanted to incorporate the purple, so his paintbrush has a little bit of purple paint on it. And that's how I was able to get that purple in there. And the fun thing with the Jim Shore deal is that a couple of years ago when I was first developing the Figment, I actually had a full-color Figment that I made, a smaller version of it, and Jim Shore was doing his autograph signings during Christmas time, and I stood in line for an hour and a half to wait to show him my Figment and got to pick his brain and talk to him and stuff. And a little insights for those that collect Jim Shore stuff or maybe wonder what he does with his styling. His grandmother was a quilter, and he was inspired by her quilt patterns and incorporates her patterns into his work. So his carved, fun little kind of patterning that he does in his characters are actual quilt patterns that he uses.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So, a little story for all of you out there, how Amy and I met Jason.
Mhm.
Was once upon a time, Amy and I got a Dole Whip Eclair from Amorette's on our Disney Spring Day, and we like looking at pretty shiny glass things. But I was ready to like book it somewhere else. I don't know. I was ready to leave, and Amy was like, "Hey, let's go into a Rebus Brothers," and I was like,
Well, I knew the Figment was there.
"Okay, fine, let's go." So we had heard about this amazing Figment that was being made out of glass, and we walk in, and the glass artist, Jason, was sitting there making him. So I actually have a video of the day that we met, which is really cool. And then we put our name in and got put on a wait list for Figment.
Yeah.
And then we didn't talk for a while until Figment ended up on his Instagram, and he said that Figment was ready for the world to buy. And I sent him a strongly worded message that was like, "Hey, what's up? I didn't get my Figment." And Rebus Brothers didn't have any of our information, and I was like, no, we definitely put our names in. And she was like, "Well, I called everyone on the list, and I'm looking through here, and you're not there." So Jason's response was like, "Yeah, probably my bad. I'll check tomorrow." And then he was like, "Yep, I screwed up. I'll take care of it.
Mhm.
Don't you worry." And the rest is history.
That it is.
Yeah, it's fun. But I also noticed that y'all, I don't know if you're wearing your One Little Spice shirts that day, maybe? Were you?
No, I was wearing a green dress, and Amy was wearing... I don't know what Amy was wearing.
something.
But
with a
I
shirt
went
under
back
it.
and looked at it. The only reason I know I was wearing a green dress is because there are pictures of me from that day.
That's true. We gave you our card though.
Yeah.
We did.
I still have it. And then I immediately went on to my Instagrams and said, "Hey, you guys got to check out this cool food podcast all about Disney food."
And I was like, who the hell is putting us in our story? And I had to go like search his Instagram, and I was like, oh, right.
Yeah, so to kind of back up too with the whole list thing. So initially, whenever we do any kind of development, anything we do, it's on stage in front of guests. And because Figment is new for the company as well, in terms of Wes never having made him before, the world lost their mind when they realized that I was creating this character, and we didn't have him available. After 6 months of developing it, people were literally waiting for 6 months. The first 10 people, I think. And we don't usually do lists for things like this just because we don't want this list to continue to grow and grow and grow. So every time I would get down to say 5 people left on my list, I would have at least 3 or 4 people every day that I worked adding their names to my list, to a point to where you two were the few of the very last ones on the list, because we eventually cut it off. We actually raised the price twice, everything, trying to get this thing off. And I don't know how you all heard about it, but I know WDW News, I believe, blog or somebody did a blog post about it, and that had gotten the word out there a little bit on the piece.
That's one of Amy's go-tos. That's probably where you heard it.
Yeah, well, not my go-tos, but I follow it. And but yeah, and then
It's literally one of the only things that Amy uses for our news segment on our podcast, so it's one of her go-tos.
my go-to is the Disney Parks blog because I know it's accurate. But yeah, no, I know I heard about it on the Friends of Figment or Figment. It was originally called Save
our
Figment.
Facebook page, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was originally called Save Figment because everyone was freaking out for a while, and then it was Friends of Figment or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's called Friends of Figment now.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, so I had people crying over the piece. It was very interesting.
I got emotional when I opened it.
I cry over it when I look at it now, but for different reasons.
This is just kind of a quick question. How many glass blowers are actually on staff at Rebus Brothers?
So each park has 2 artists on stage that rotate shift. So Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Disney Springs, there's 2 of us each doing the lamp working on the torch. And then we have our hot shop in the back of Magic Kingdom where there's 3 artists on staff, and then I'm the 4th person that rotates in the hot shop if needed. And then we've got one of our artists backstage. Well, actually, I guess two of our artists is backstage. One of our artists has been promoted to the manager department. So he actually just went over to Hong Kong, or not Hong Kong, but to Tokyo for the last month and worked out there for us, getting some larger production pieces done that he does, as well as
the one that did the castle that you showed me the other day?
No, that's Miguel Arribas that did that piece. Okay. But yeah, Keith was making I think it's MTV or Nickelodeon or somebody does the music awards. through Disney. It's like a Mickey they gave that with headphones on. Maybe it's the Disney Awards. Probably Disney Music Awards. I don't know. Either way, we make the trophy award.
Like the radio Disney, maybe?
Yeah. We make the special award, and it's like it's not for like the best music of the year. It's for an artist that's done something good on the earth. So like Jennifer Lopez got it one year, that kind of stuff.
Excellent.
What's your ultimate favorite Disney memory?
So my ultimate favorite Disney memory. So I guess early on in my childhood, my fondest memories are taking the death buckets across Fantasyland from Tomorrowland to, I guess it'd be Fantasyland. Maybe, yeah, wherever the Tangled bathrooms are. I guess that's Fantasyland. That was the entrance and exit. I remember getting off the exit there and going over what was once the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea that was then abandoned, and we still went over the thing abandoned with all the walls up and stuff, all that kind of jazz. And so that's the childhood memories, is that taking that thing all over the place. Really not all over the place, but on the path that it took you back and forth. We took it all the time.
That one time, my girlfriend bought a flight down to see me for a day, and we went to Magic Kingdom, and she took me to the Crystal Palace. That's totally my ultimate favorite memory.
And then I'll get there. So as an adult, I would say my fondest memory was early on being hired on. I had gained my access to the parks and was able to bring my kids in. And my son, the entire time, I think he was, he's 12, so he was 5, maybe 6 at the time. No, that's not right. He was like 4. But either way, it was his first time going. We got his ears made for him. And all day, all he wanted to see was Tinkerbell come off the castle. And it was back when Wishes was still being shown, and also the Electric Light Parade was still there. So we did Electric Light Parade, and I had him on my shoulders the whole time, and there's pictures of him and my daughter and him on my shoulders. It was just like super magical time, getting to see just the spectacle of what that show was all about. And then getting to go then get a great spot by the partner statue and watch Wishes, and then watch Tink come off the castle. And every time after that, whenever Tink would come off the castle, it would bring me to tears, just remembering that moment of him seeing her for the first time, doing that whole thing. It was pretty awesome. And then just recently, when Miss Julie flew down and surprised me as on an overnight kind of one-day trip. And I think the fun thing about that was her and I both being Disney nerds, is I already had fast passes set up, and then unbeknownst to me, she had breakfast plans made for us to go eat at the Crystal Palace. And we got to pick up waffles off the floor and or out of the bin, whatever that this kid was throwing back in the bin off the floor. And got to hang out with Pooh and Tigger and Piglet and Eeyore on like 45 minutes of sleep.
Nice.
With screaming kids. It was spectacular.
Hey, you got more sleep than I did.
That's true. No, it was super awesome though. I definitely it would be one of many trips for us to go. But I think really for me personally, anytime I go to Disney, it's my favorite. Every trip's different. We do something totally different every time, no matter how planned out it is. And I don't really plan my Disney trips except for fast passes. We typically improvise our days. Unless there's a mission. If there's a mission for the day, then it has to be accomplished.
The mission is always food.
The mission is always food.
Just
not my.
Just
Not
saying.
really.
Dining reservations are a must too. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, he was telling me about how he doesn't generally like focus on eating in the parks, and I was like, so did you have a miserable time when I fed you candied bacon and the Tangled Eclair and the Lost Princess cone?
Yeah, because there was no sprinkles on it and stuff.
Because I licked them off.
And then you had magical poop the next day.
I did.
How come I didn't hear about this? I'm just saying.
I don't think there was actually magical poop, Amy.
Oh, okay. So you didn't actually have glittering poop.
I didn't check. It probably sparkled.
You would have known. You would have just been able to tell.
There was pixie dust all over everything because I got pixie dusted.
Oh, yeah, I don't do that. I let her do that.
Well, it was great. So I got pixie dusted, and then I leaned in to snuggle into his neck, and then the whole right side of his neck was covered in pixie dust. It was pretty great. I had to even it out, put some on the other side, you know.
Yep. Get the glitter going.
It was fun.
I love Tinkerbell. I dress up like Tinkerbell, but I still avoid getting pixie dusted because it's like glitter everywhere.
Okay, there's something magical about pixie dust. It does not stay like glitter does.
I've had it in the past day, so usually what I'll have them do is after they do Julie, they'll close the wand and do it over me so I get a light sprinkling of like what's just adhered to the wand.
I'm telling you,
Nice.
that pixie dust is gone the second I take a shower. It's magic. I don't know how it works. It's not like glitter. Disney magic, y'all. All right, so life as a Disney cast member. And I guess, like, my first question here is for starters, tell us what you do for Disney, but we've basically covered that for the rest of the podcast so far.
Well, I can
And-
say that my job is considered to be a demonstrating glass artist. That's my role.
He makes
That's
pretty
my
Disney things
role.
out of glass. Y'all.
Yeah, and talk
They're very pretty.
all day.
All right, cool. So half of these questions we've already asked, and as a cast member, you get to see behind the veil. How do you keep the magic alive?
For me, seeing behind the veil actually adds to the magic, because I like the inner workings and how things run. And especially getting to walk the Teledors at Magic Kingdom. Like, whenever I work there, I tend to try to purposely get lost down there, so I can stumble upon things that I may not have seen before. Or pop up in a door somewhere that I have nowhere that it belongs to. Unless I know it says, like, castle stage door, then I don't go through it, because I don't want to have to, like, pop out and be, like, on the stage of the castle during, like, Mickey's dream sequence thingy.
Then,
And then you
100%
have to know
the
all
choreography.
the you have to know all the choreography because you know they
Oh,
teach
I know
you
it.
every choreography.
I was gonna say
during-
he probably
during,
knows all
you
the
know,
choreography.
onboarding.
But yeah, it's interesting for sure. You know, it's getting to understand the terminology, the uses. You know, people that are in the entertainment side of things are friends with characters. Getting to go to the Mouseketeria at Magic Kingdom, for instance, and like I've got Cinderella and Merida and you name it in line at Subway grabbing their sandwiches for the day. You know, that kind of stuff. It's just interesting to see it, and
The Mouseketeria, still, I love it.
I love it.
As a cast member, is there something guests assume incorrectly about being a cast member that you have found surprising?
I think that they think that the majority of the cast members that are working there are fans of Disney, when it's like a half and half kind of thing. So there's cast members like myself who grew up in Disney, love Disney, have always wanted to work there as whatever position per se. Mine was as an artist. I've been blessed to have a chance to an opportunity to be an artist for there. And then you have like your cast that just works there as just like an employee, and it's just a job that they do. They still get sucked into the magic of Disney, like we always consider them to be full of pixie dust. And the ones that you can tell are the true Disney lovers are those that have been there for 3 to 5 years and are still full of pixie dust, like myself.
Like Latara.
Oh yes, Latara. She's
And there's a bunch of us like that. So Latara, I'm sorry I didn't interrupt you.
no. I was gonna say Latara is you know just amazing. You'll meet Latara.
So we met
someday.
her. Yeah,
Or
you
did
will,
you get-
because she's
yes.
going to be like my bestie down there. I told her we're hanging out all the
Yeah.
time. But we met Latara when we were trying to go to Trader Sam's, and the wait was like 4 million miles long, so we went out to the deck in the back and got drinks there, and she was our waitress, and she was so excited that we were so excited to throw cinnamon into the, was it the Aoa?
Yeah, the Oa. She's like, most people are like, okay, can you please put it out? And we're just like, yay,
We literally
cinnamon!
sat there and we kept flinging the cinnamon
She
into
flung
the
it.
flame.
Yeah, we flung it. She flung it. There was so much cinnamon flinging. I still periodically make a scorpion bowl in that bowl, and every single time I have to light it on fire and I have to throw cinnamon. But the bowl is not used unless the cinnamon is thrown. I don't care what's in it. At fire, cinnamon thrown at fire to go.
But yeah, so we
Fun.
met Latar then, and we've just been like super huge friends, super great friends since. And
Yeah,
we haven't
they're
had a
the
chance to see her often. In this last trip, we got to hang out with her, and she took us to Cast Connections.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I still have yet to go.
I'm taking you.
I
I guess
I got-
technically
I-
you're taking me, but it's happening.
Yeah. We will go. But yeah, I think that's, you could tell the magic, like who likes to share the magic, and also as a cast member, we have our own magic moments that are created for us from the guests as well.
Like when
Which I
they
think
come
is,
in and really love Figment and then give you their business card and put their name on a list for Figment and then you marry them.
Yeah, precisely. Super magical.
That's pretty darn magical.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's different. You know, I've had some pretty amazing moments from guests that have brought tears for all of us. I've had little girls like 6 and 7 year olds singing "Do you want to build a snowman?" while I'm making Olafs, you know, type of stuff.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Shh,
Yeah,
Zoe's gonna want to go
exactly.
for a walk.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. She's
I
upstairs
was
and
like,
my
she
headphones
can't
are on.
hear
She
you
can't
with
hear.
the headphones.
She might be able to. You don't know. All right, and now what everyone is here for, because we are a food podcast, the food.
Food.
Finally, an hour in.
Yep.
All right, so we'll go within the parks. What is your favorite snack in each park? Starting with Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom's got to be the traditional Dole Whips. We had the bacon last time. I liked it, but it's not something I would go and get personally myself. I wouldn't seek it out because I'm not a big. I know it's terrible to say, but I'm not a big bacon person, really. Like fatty stuff like that.
Oh, we'll get you there, or she will.
That's all right. I don't want to kill Jason, so.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
my cholesterol's
That's
bad as it
fair.
is.
And he
That's
doesn't
fair,
take his
then.
medication, so we can't feed him all the bacon.
Yeah.
It's okay, Michael can eat all the bacon.
But I had my first churro that I remember like 2 years ago, I think it was, which is crazy thinking that. Like I was eating it, and I was like, "This is my first churro I've ever had." So that's the Magic Kingdom vibe. When it comes to Epcot, I don't really have a
Whoa, hey,
specific.
whoa, ho, ho.
What?
That's my line.
Oh, sorry.
Next is Epcot.
Well, when it comes.
Sorry, keep going.
So when it comes to Epcot, I don't really have a specific there either necessarily. I love Food and Wine. I prefer their alcoholic beverages at Epcot more than anything. If I do go eat anywhere, usually I go to Nine Dragons, which is some people don't like, but I like Nine Dragons as a quick service restaurant sit down place. But also the Coral Reef is like my main go-to restaurant that I go there. My favorite hidden gem in Epcot is the Tutto Italia wine cellar that's tucked back in the back side of Tutto Gusto. I think Tutto Gusto the restaurant? And
Tutto
Tutto Ita-
Gusto is
and then Tutto Italia. I get it backwards.
Yeah.
Either way, they're linked. The nice thing with the wine cellar, though, is that you can actually get the menu for the main restaurant. So you can sit in there in the wine cellar, have your little your cheese and meats and gimmicks in the back there in a wine cellar situation. And then you can order from the main menu of the restaurant and have like a whole pizza brought in or eggplant parmesan or something like that. So when it comes to food and wine, though, the Epcot, I'm pretty particular with my go-tos there. America has their smokehouse that they do every year. They usually do like a lobster roll or some kind of pulled pork, which is pretty good. But my go-to there is their bacon maple stout that they usually have. And then they have like a warm chocolate cake or a warm chocolate maple cupcake with the bacon bits and caramel maple glazy thing on top of it.
Yeah, bourbon maple glaze.
Yeah, spectacular. I think they do it there in Flower and Garden as well. But I don't know anything out there, restaurants. I've seen this on tap once, that and the keg was gone in like an hour. So I've only really had it at Epcot.
My
Yeah.
favorite beer in America from Food and Wine is Hops.
Hops.
I'm just
I will.
I'm just imagining how many lobster rolls Julie's going to buy in the fall during Food and Wine when she's, thinking about New England. I'd like you to keep tally.
You're gonna cry because I'm not getting real lobster from home. I gotta figure out a good place to bring Jason to get a lobster roll up here.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a Gulf lobster. They're delicious.
Says
There's
the
nothing-
man who's lived in Florida all his
There
life.
is nothing wrong with a Gulf lobster. That does not mean that it's,
Anywhere near
superior.
a Maine lobster.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
or
it's
Nova
it's
Scotia. Maine,
it's
Nova
smaller.
Scotia.
Well, there's just something about going out and catching your own lobster. And then
Yeah, you could
coming
do that
back.
in New England.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I
but
am
prefer it
descended
in
from
the Gulf.
lobster fishermen. It's in my blood.
Nice.
Next, MGM.
The Anaheim Fruit Stand is my go-to, and it's on the way to Tower of Terror right there down there on the left-hand side, and they sell a frozen lemonade margarita that I love. I get that every time I go there.
We've had it. It's amazing. Well, Amy's purchased it, and I've had some.
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
a
it's
little
good.
margarita happy in MGM sometimes.
Yeah, it's easy
And-
to do.
And pickle happy, because they have pickles.
I like their celery and carrots. That's the word I'm looking for. I couldn't remember the name for celery, and then realized that I already said it. And ranch dip.
Jeez. But also the Brown Derby has really good margaritas too. Yeah, good.
Margaritas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do, because they have the flight of margaritas, too. I've only had their martinis.
So
lots
yeah,
and lots of martinis.
there's some good restaurants there. Hollywood and Vine for the homestyle Americana comfort food type of place.
Sorry.
But I go there for their dessert, all you can eat dessert bar and chocolate fountain thingy that they have.
Amy was
Yeah, I know
laughing at my response to
She's
your
not
answer.
a fan.
I was just like, the
Like, of
response
all
Julie was
of all
having.
the places. I'm just kidding.
I like
I've
the- I
never
like the-
been there,
the-
so I
the-
don't know. I've
their
only
desserts.
heard about it.
It's pretty good, but also like Mama Melrose is really good. It's our go to Italian place there.
I do the Mama Melrose Fantasmic package, and you get like an appetizer, meal, and dessert. That's delicious.
Yes, we do the same thing. And then what's 50's Diner?
Ah,
Go
yes,
there-
their PB and
Go
J
there
shake.
and yeah, I need to get that. Never have it, but it's fun
It's
because they treat you like a
amazing.
cousin, and you can't use your phones. You have to ask permission to leave the table to go pee.
Can't put your elbows on the table.
Yeah,
Have
No,
to set your
no
own
one
table.
tells me when to pee.
yeah, I understand. I got up
Amy
and I got-
always pees. Oh, this is
reprimanded.
so fun. So I went to the parks with Jason, and he's like, I gotta pee, sorry. I gotta pee, sorry. And, like every 10 seconds. And I was like, Amy has prepared me my entire life for this.
I have a baby bladder.
So Jason,
does
you're
Amy.
welcome.
Thank you.
I have conditioned her. This is not an issue.
I know where all the bathrooms are at every park.
She knows
Me
where
too.
the best places to sit while waiting outside the bathrooms are in every park.
Oh, I know.
That's awesome.
Next is Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, I would say, restaurants wise, is the Satuli
These are
Canteen.
snacks. Your favorite
I don't
snack
have I don't have a
in
favorite
each
snack
park.
except for that. Well, I guess, what is it? The not Tusker House. Whatever that little quick service gimmick is next to the Satuli Canteen. Next
Pongu
to
Pongu. It means party
Yeah.
party.
So Pongu Pongu has their swamp ale, which is delicious. It's like a mango-y apricot ale, and it's a good-sized beer too.
That sounds super delicious.
I know, now I gotta try this.
I know, we only ever
Yeah.
get the margaritas and the night blossoms, and we get the glowing seed thing,
Mm-hmm. That's good.
and
But
one that
so-
fell on the floor because they
My
couldn't
favorite-
sell it to anyone. So I took it. Happy birthday to
Nice.
me.
My favorite thing to do, though, when I go to do Pandora routine-wise, is we go do the Congo River Rapids and get soaking wet. And then I go back to Pandora and I go buy a beer and a colossal pretzel. That's like the size of my head. And then we get in line and you dry off in line with the fans and you cool down a little bit and have a nice beer. So by the time you get to the ride, you have a slight little buzz on. You got a little food in your belly from the pretzel. You're dried off, and then you get on the ride and you fly on your Banshee. And then you get off and you go immediately to the bathroom and pee.
So I am not one to wait in line for rides because fast passes exist. But that sounds like a lot of fun.
Mhm.
I think I would enjoy doing that with you. But only ever with you.
Yeah, when I come, we're fast passing because my bladder can't do that. I had, when I went down with my friend Phil, we went literally, like, we planned the trip 20 days in advance, so clearly I wouldn't have fast passes for Flight of Passage. And so we were trying to figure out, like, how early to get there. And finally we figured out how early to get there, but before that I was like, if we can't get on this, I'm like, if I have to, like, leave in the middle of the line to go to the bathroom, like, I'm like, they're not going to let me in, so just, like, go on the ride and I will wait for you outside. But we were able to get
Yeah.
there, like, super early in the morning. We talked to a cast member who's like, yeah, they actually let people in at this time now, so for this ride, so get here, like, by this time, and it worked out, and it was amazing.
Nice. I always find first thing in the morning is like the busiest. I've seen it up to like 4 hours for waits. Even still to this day, it's crazy.
Yeah, it
So we
was.
used to go afternoon or at night.
Yeah, we got there like at 5:45, and they were letting people in. Like, I don't know, it was just not 6:40. I don't know. We got there like a good 45 minutes to an hour before the like 45 minutes to an hour early they were letting people in for this ride.
That's crazy. I'd rather be sleeping.
Phil really loves Avatar, so he absolutely had to see this. There was no question.
Yeah, it's a must do if you only get to go to the parks every once in a while, or like once every couple of years for sure. It's life changing.
I cry every time.
I nearly do.
It's just that scene when the banshee lands in the cave.
Yeah, I get emotional.
Gets me every time.
The
And I know
music
it's
playing.
coming, and still,
Yep.
amazing. And then when we rode Navi River at night,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
because so when you go in during the day and you're riding on it, it feels like a ride because you get off and it's sunny out. But when you're doing it at night, it feels like you're actually in Pandora, so it's not like a ride. You're just literally taking a boat ride through the Navi River. What is your favorite indulgence in Disney?
I would have to say buying new socks or ears. But when it
I
comes to
love that
food-
I'm like, we're talking about food, and he's like, socks and ears.
Follow-up question, what is your favorite Disney food indulgence?
Yeah, food indulgence, definitely the restaurants. I've had some good ones.
Can we narrow
the-
it down a little bit, please, babe?
So I would say if I'm gonna spend like $250 plus on dinner, I typically go to Mexico for one of the restaurants. I go to
La
both of them really, but
Hacienda, whatever.
yeah, the one that's across on the actual Showcase Lagoon. They have an amazing tequila pairing you can get. It's like a tequila flight, and they pair your meal with it. And the couple times I've gone, they've had their tequila sommelier there.
Tequila.
That's
There you
what
go.
I said.
They had their tequila expert.
That
But, yeah,
that is literally what I said when we recorded this the last time, maybe. That's why she's my Disney wife.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's the place I like to go spend the cash at. If I'm gonna go spend money at a restaurant, is at Epcot wise is there.
Once upon a time, Amy and I got to eat at the chef's table at Victoria and Albert's, and that was amazing. I'm gonna bring that up every chance I get. I'm just saying.
It's okay.
My levels are like, have fun editing this down. I'm just saying. Now back on track. Okay, so the one meal or dessert that you have to have no matter how unhealthy, or drink.
Drink works too. We don't talk
In
about
your
drinks
case.
enough.
Definitely the margaritas inside the La Cava Tequila Bar in Mexican Pavilion.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Especially when you're on the verge of a panic attack, they are most excellent.
They are.
Yeah, they'll calm you down real fast, as long as you're not paying for them.
We
'Cause that
also
might make
had
a heart race.
we had a gentleman who was sitting at a table next to us, and there were it was like 6 people that were crammed into a teeny tiny little table, and it was him and his girlfriend or whatever at the large table at the end, and he offered their seat to this group of people so that they could like switch seats and they would have more room, and they were like, no, don't worry about it. And the bartender or waitress or whoever it was like, hey, you're super awesome, here's a flight of tequila.
Rad.
And so he shared one of them with us.
Because he's like, I don't need that much tequila.
It was pretty epic.
It's pretty crazy seeing the line go up the ramp and out the door during food and wine for that place. It's like that all day long.
So when Julie was on the verge of a panic attack, and I brought us over there, so I'm like, okay, Julie, you're gonna sit here, and she was playing, I think, balls on her phone just to kind of like zone out, and I was like, you sit here, I'm gonna
Sitting
go get
on a
in
curb
line.
in Norway.
I'm like, I thought it was Germany, but anyways, But yeah, it does not matter. I'm like, I'm gonna go to Mexico. I'm gonna like get in line and put our, for a table. We're gonna try to see about getting food. I was like, when you're ready, you come. So she's like, I'm ready. So I walk and I see the line out the door, and I'm like, okay, I know that everyone says the to-go line is like super long. Let's see how like long the wait for a table line was. I walked up 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's not the end of the world. Whatever. So I text Julie. I'm like, okay, whenever you're ready to go. They said about 20 minutes. When you see the line, don't panic. It's not our line. It's a different line. And it's like, yeah, because that line is crazy out the door. And they sat us in like 5 minutes anyways, but still, that line, oh my God.
Yeah, it's amazing. And those guys in there and gals, they make $1,500 a day in tips, probably, if not more. It's killing it. But I'd say that's probably my indulgence there.
So, if you could bring back one Disney food from the past that they have gotten rid of, what would it be?
The brisket mac and cheese, I believe it was. They had it at Magic Kingdom. Or maybe it was a pot roast mac and cheese.
I remember,
I don't know.
it was one of those. I remember reading about that one.
I know I never got a chance to have it.
My bringbacks are at Magic Kingdom too. Like, give me my arugula.
Yes. Since they've reopened Aunt Polly's, I need to go see on Tom Sawyer's Island. I need to go see if they have the twisty ice cream in cups, but they don't make those cups anymore. So
when did they reopen that?
it's been off and on. There's been like reports of it being like reopened off and on.
Oh man, I used to love that place.
But
Honestly.
She's never been to Tom
I've
Sawyer's
never been.
Island.
I know. We
talked about it last time.
One of the other things that they got rid of in Magic Kingdom was at the Golden Outpost. They used to have waffle fries that were loaded with pulled pork and magical slaw. And then Amy got some ranch ones that were also really good, but then they got rid of them. And now they have ranch ones with chili on them now, but they're not the same.
I got the BLT one.
Yeah, so it was like ranch dressing, bacon, lettuce, deliciousness.
I miss smelling the McDonald's French fries in Adventureland.
Very authentic to the time of the pirates.
At the time
Very
period,
authentic.
it was.
So what are your must-haves when you go to Disney?
Must-haves. Honestly, my must-haves is just to have the freedom to walk through those parks, period. Except for when I'm blacked out, like when Galaxy's Edge opens up and I'm blacked out from MGM for like 3 months.
So, okay, so now blocked out, like if you bought tickets, we could go?
I could buy tickets, correct. I just
Okay.
can't use my guest passes or my main gate to get in.
Do you get a discount on tickets that you purchase, or you pay full price?
I get discounts, yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Looks like I'm going to be going to Galaxy's Edge all by myself. It's okay. It's cool.
So what was the question again?
We're going to, hold on.
Answer
So
better.
we're going to drive down, and after like 19 hours in the car, I'm going to be like, okay, babe, I'm taking your car to go to Galaxy's Edge. Bye. I'm not. I would never do that.
I know, but you're like, it's Julie. You're like 50% joking and 50% serious on certain subjects. Food and Star Wars Land is kind of one of the, two of the main ones.
I'll be really curious to see how it goes because you may or may not want to go right away, just depending on how crazy it is.
Okay, so I'm not going to want to go
I don't
without
think so.
you because, like, anxiety and panic attacks without you there with me are bad. Okay, so what are your must-have foods when you go to Disney?
I'm probably the worst guest for y'all to have on this podcast.
I always took that as what are your must-haves, just like what must you do.
prefaced this section of questions with, and now the food, and half of the answers have been not food-related.
So here's my deal. When I stay on property, my must-go-to things I do at Disney is when the park is closed and I'm going back to my resort, I have to have their ice cream sandwiches that come on their gigantic cookies. That's like my must-have to end my nights. When it comes to the daytime, I'm not really a Disney foodie, which I hate to say and admit, but it's just the truth. I'm more of like a Disney historian and nerd inside of everything else except for the food. The food I
don't you
love
worry, that'll
to try
change.
and eat. But so the ice cream cake or ice cream sandwich is like my go-to. And then also so are double cheeseburgers from McDonald's after the parks. That's like my tradition for visiting these parks. Even if I am staying on property, We hit the Mickey D's by the All-Star Resorts on the way into our hotel and grabbed some double cheeseburgers.
That actually sounds super delicious.
It does.
Yeah, so like when Food and Wine's coming around, I love to go around and try stuff, try the new things. I have some specifics I might have to go get kind of stuff. But really, I don't know. I like the flavor of life in general. So whether it's living and breathing or actually putting things in my mouth to eat, as long as it's at Disney, it's whatever. I enjoy it.
So, what would you like to see Disney change, offer, or do differently? Bring back Figment.
Yeah, I definitely would say some kind of redo of Journey to Imagination, which is probably going to be like an Inside Out roller coaster or something. Hopefully, Figment's included into it somehow or other. I don't know. We'll find out at D23 this year what's going to be happening probably. I don't know. That's a good question because there's so much that has been lost. Like, I would love to see Mr. Toad's Wild Ride come back. The Electric Light Parade in some form at Magic Kingdom, not just at Disneyland, like it's going to be coming back here for a short stay. I don't know if they still do the old Western shootout thingy on top of the buildings that they used to do in Adventureland. Like they used to do them on top of the buildings where the Pecos Bill's restaurant is, and the Country Bear Jamborees. They used to have like a up in the balconies stunt show type thing. The restaurant you mentioned at Tom Sawyer's Island, I used to love getting twisty treat type style vanilla ice cream from there. If I could
That's
spit it
exciting.
out. So
That's exciting because I had that as a child.
Yes.
I did not, because my first trip to Disney wasn't until I was 21. It's cool. Thanks, Mom.
And more recently, I would say going to the parks during the holidays are my must-go-tos. Non-food related, I know.
It's okay. That one doesn't have to be food related. All right, so we love hearing different perspectives about Disney planning. How do you plan your Disney trips since you work there and live so close?
So depends on what we're doing. So now that I live closer, because for the first 5 years working there, I lived an hour and 45-ish away one way. So when we came to the parks, we stayed on property. So we got the full immersive experience. We stayed amongst all the resorts from the yacht club to whatever, you know what I mean? Like we've gone around and done all the tours for the hotels and then taken the buses or whatever's into the parks. So we would always make our plans based around where we stayed, I guess, in a sense. But honestly, anymore, most of our Disney trips are just improvised. We'll set up a couple fast passes depending on what the first park is of the day we're going to be visiting. And then with the new way the systems of the fast passes are done, so if you get all 3 fast passes out of the way, you can add another fast pass to your thing. So we try to get all 3 done before noon if possible, and then keep adding them to there as they're available, if they're available, obviously.
That's how we do our fast passes.
Nice. So that's pretty much it. I mean, we really like to improvise. If it's Food and Wine, for instance, I definitely plan out the time that we're there because I want to make sure I'm hitting certain spots. Or Flower and Gardens the same way. I make sure we hit certain things. But honestly, besides that, we just like going to Disney and just letting the day take us on its own little course and improvise. Again, of course, unless we're saying we're going to do like a snack and a ride in every park of that day or something like that. Then if there's a mission to be had.
I'm really excited to do Disney with you because I'm a super planner. Amy and I have spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets for our trips. Because, before living there, you get to go a couple times a year and you have to plan out everything. And Amy and I have like 18 different restaurants that we have to eat at for the podcast this coming trip. So I think I'm going to really enjoy just not planning. I mean, maybe I won't. Maybe I'm going to be really paranoid about it, but I'm going to try and enjoy just going with
you'll get over it. Because I like for me, living and being a local and having access, like to me, there's nothing better than going to Epcot after a thunderstorm has come through at like 8 o'clock at night, right before the park closes, and having a cold beer and walking the World Showcase.
Yeah,
and then hanging out for
I think it'll
Illuminations.
be different because I'll just be going there for, a little thing, not trying to get everything done that we need to fit in a day. But I did really enjoy the Magic Kingdom day because we had breakfast and then 2 fast passes, but we ended up doing 5 rides.
5.
We did the Jungle Cruise, and then we also waited in line. It was pretty short for Big Thunder, and then did the Carousel of Progress. We did a lot in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
How have your Disney visits changed since you became a cast member?
I would say that I have an opportunity to. So, like, as a cast member, I get in for free, per se, for the most part. So most of the money I spend can be spent on merchandise and stuff instead of having to buy tickets that at the time I could barely afford to pay for to begin with. So, and also having free parking. Like, there's nothing better, I should say, than pulling up to the spot to pay for your parking tickets and just showing my ID and them saying, "Hey, thanks for creating magic with us. Have a great day."
Yeah, that was pretty
And
cool. I felt so important.
Right?
I remember running through the Magic Kingdom parking things when I ran the Princess Half Marathon, and my thought was, wow, that's a lot for parking.
The Ticket and Transportation Center, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was the entrance to Magic Kingdom, but we didn't go through the ticket and transportation. They took us a different way.
Where did you run?
Hmm?
Where did you run?
We ran from where did we start? Epcot, behind Epcot to Magic Kingdom, back to Epcot.
Yeah, I was going to say, you ended at Epcot, right?
Yeah. Is there anything you must do when you visit the park unrelated to working? So I mean, when you visit the park, not you get off from work and you change and go park things, but like you are not working that day and you decide to go to the park.
And you park things.
I think I meant to say you do park things.
Okay, so that question came out actually pretty well. So if we edit my laughing out of the background, I think we'll be okay. So
Yeah, we'll be fine.
It's a very Amy worded question, but it worked.
I say it just goes back to, like, depending on my mood for the day, honestly. There's some days where we go visit the park, and all I want to do is just go walk around and smell the flowers, or just walk down Main Street or go take a selfie in front of a Instagram wall or something stupid. Or just go see Carousel of Progress just because I haven't seen it in a while. Or ride the People Mover because I want to go see the Tron construction that's happening. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I'm really big on growth and change, so I love seeing the infrastructures happening right now and all the new stuff happening with the freaking gondola buckets, whatever the hell those things are called. And yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't really have like specifics that I have to do.
Pirates of the Caribbean is that your first ride in Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, that was a tradition of mine for a long time. I was going on Pirates first thing. But yeah, I'd say now that I've been so many times and I have this access to it whenever I want, that I just like going in and holding someone's hand and walking the park.
Oh.
You're making me blush.
So, I understand that this is a perk that Magic Kingdom cast members occasionally get to partake in for one reason or another.
I know where she's going with this one.
So, have you ever gotten to ride Space Mountain with the lights on?
No, I have not.
I'm so sorry. Apparently, it's amazing.
I think it'd be scary as hell.
Yep.
It would be scary as hell, but in an amazing way is what I hear.
We've tried timing it to where we've gone on the People Mover at close, because that's when they turn the lights on. They look for wallets and cell phones and change and stuff. But we've always missed that. I have ridden Space Mountain with the lights off completely. During
I have
not
too.
So spooky. And or not
so
scary.
scary.
And that was incredible.
Yes, I have to agree. It was amazing. I was not expecting it. I was expecting, honestly, an overlay of like spooky sounds, if that makes any sense, or like and a couple of like spooky or like light thingies. And it was in complete darkness. I get off the ride. The first thing I do is like record a video to send to Julie about I was like, oh my gosh, this just happened.
Truth.
Oh, it is amazing. It was just
So as you heard on our last episode of Extra Spice, I was hoping y'all didn't hear that. Okay. As you heard on our last episode of Extra Spice, I set a pretty high standard for guessing, so we shall see if I can uphold that standard. Sorry, that made me laugh because the laughter's written in still. And anyway, so in case you didn't tune into our last episode of Extra Spice, I'm going to have Jason describe a Disney meal, and we are going to try and guess what it is and from what restaurant. What were you going to say, Amy?
So as you've started taking up the southern y'all, I thought I'd point out there's more than one of us, so it's all y'all.
Perfect.
I don't know. I'm gonna talk to Jess about that one, and we'll see. Did I say y'all?
You said y'all.
Did I really?
You were referring to us, and you said y'all, and I'm just like, it's all y'all. If we're doing this, get it right.
Did I say y'all?
You said y'all.
All right. Anyway. I don't even hear it. All right, Jason, are you ready to taste our test buds? This is the second time I've done that.
You said that so perfectly,
Yes.
except it was wrong.
Jason, are you ready to test our taste buds?
I am, so I can't give you any clues of like locations or type of restaurants or anything.
So maybe just don't do the one you did last time, because Julie already.
We already talked about
Did
that.
slash did,
I mean,
yeah,
that would
okay.
really help me with my streak here. But hold on, let me pop the timer on. Timer. Nope.
Am I allowed to try to guess, or is this just a Julie thing?
No, it's a us. It's a testing
I'm just
our
making
taste
sure.
buds.
I'm just making sure.
I
I didn't know if it became a thing that you really wanted to figure
So
it out.
you can like super describe the item, but
Okay.
we not where it is or
Okay.
yeah, because I feel like just we'll try. Let's go. Okay.
All right. So this stuff, this is something soft and it has a fruity taste to it. It's tropically.
Are you talking about a
flavored,
Dole Whip?
And it has it's an adult
Dole Whip
beverage
with rum?
type of thing.
The,
and it
the one
comes-
from Animal Kingdom?
Is it the Trader Sam's Dole Whip with rum beverage?
It's the one from Animal Kingdom, but it's the coconut rum one.
Yeah, I would have gotten
Oh,
there.
I like that one.
It's really good.
So
Just recently
I
had it.
blew that record away. But see, I feel like that was cheating because we talked about that, and I had a feeling that that's what you're gonna. say.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you said it's frozen and fruity, I'm like, it's Dole Whip, but I'm like, I'll let you like talk some more.
Yeah.
But you know.
That's why I went Dole Whip with rum. Dole Whip with rum from Animal Kingdom, and that was 13 seconds. So you want to try another one?
I don't really have any other ones. It's comes from a pig's belly and it's on a stick. And
Candied bacon on a stick.
yeah, I'm terrible with food stuff there, like I said. So
It's okay. She'll fix that.
yep. So there you go. Congratulations.
Yay!
Congratulations.
I like all
Shirley,
of
you're
those things.
amazing. All right, Jason. So that is all the questions that we have for you. But tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Heck yeah. So I have like 10 Instagram pages. So get a pen and paper, and I'll tell you where I'm at. To start off with, my personal Instagram, where you can follow me on all my fun Disney adventures in glass, is at jmichaelglass. That is JMICHELGLASS. And then and then you can find me also on the any kind of podcast app, whatever you listen to. My show is called The Wise Guy Radio Show for now. You can look it up under it's WYZ.
Now it's not called the Wise Guy Radio Show for now. It's just called the Wise Guy Radio Show
Correct.
for now.
For now. You can find it on iTunes. You can also follow me on there with my podcast on Instagram. It's at wiseguy_media, WYZGUY_media. I'm sure the ladies will have all this in the show notes for you. Also started a new podcast with Miss Julie called F Yeah Disney. That's on Instagram at FYA_Disney. And I don't know. I have a waffles page. I have an obsession with waffles. It's called Tends to Waffle. Yeah, I do. It's tens, TENDS _number 2 and then _waffles. And I want to start a food truck. That's a waffle food truck that's called Tends to Waffle. and just sell nothing but waffle stuff.
Michael and I are gonna start a Sloppy Mike truck maybe someday.
Sloppy Mike's nice.
They're like sloppy. They're little like basically pocket pies,
Nice.
but like savory usually. And I have a bubble waffle iron, like the Nordic Ware one. It's really awesome, like the cast iron one.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've never had bubble waffles, they're cool.
I have. The place called.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thinking I'm Disney now.
There's also a place called Cousteau's up in St. Augustine that makes that type of waffle. They're amazing.
Cool.
But they also put like peanut
Excellent.
butter and ice cream and bananas on them. And chocolate.
That's a way to waffle.
It's a great breakfast. You can send me an email, my personal email, or not my personal, but to my company, to Wise Guy Media. It's just wiseguymedia@gmail.com. I'll come by and say hey, or just check out my stuff. Share with your friends and family, and find out what's going on out there in the crazy world of glass. Or come see me at Disney Springs in person. My name tag has my name on it. It just says Jason from St. Pete. I'll probably be making Figment or one of my characters, or some dolphins, or burning myself.
Admittedly, you have been in Disney Springs like both times that I've visited.
Yeah, that is my home base.
I can give you
Home
his
away from
schedule,
home.
so every time you're there, he's there, Amy.
Yeah.
Well, like likelihood is the 90% of the time that I'm gonna be there that he's gonna be there. I'm probably gonna be there
'Cause
with you a little bit.
I'm going to be there to visit him there. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us today, Jason. We had a blast.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Likewise, it's, thanks for having me on. It's definitely an honor and a pleasure. I love the show. I've been listening to it for, I don't know, since November when I met you all for the first time.
November 10th.
And, yeah. And,
Who's
definitely,
keeping track?
I was actually really looking forward to this one in particular. It was fun to ask cast member questions.
yeah, I appreciate it. And sorry, I'm not a big foodie type of person. I love food and drinks, but I like it all, so I don't have any specifics. And I like chocolate and ice cream and things that are sweet.
It's funny,
That's
I'm
my
the
go-tos.
exact opposite, so this will be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's
We'll
the
have lots
only
of-
I think it's the only thing that we're like completely opposite on.
It's just
Then you can both get your own thing and share, and it's wonderful.
we'll have like lots of chocolate covered pretzels and stuff. Yeah, well, thanks again. I definitely appreciate it, and look forward to next time. If I'm ever on again, if you guys want me back, I will have better answers for you
Well,
regarding specifics.
I told
Since I'll be
Amy
well
that
trained.
anytime she can't record, you're my go-to, so it should be interesting because I'm gonna have to pick a place that I've gone with you.
Cool.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in this week to our episode of Extra Spice. I apparently can't say that. Maybe I should change the name of this segment. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our episode of Extra Spice this week. And just remember, every recipe starts with one little spice.
So when Food and Wine's around, the last couple of years,
I give up.
I'm done. Why
So
don't
in Food
you
and
host
Wine-
this podcast?
thanks, Julie.